And there was somebody here at the radio in our group chat last night that kind of said one of these as well. And I said, I don't know if I'd go on the air with that take. So I'm actually surprised by how many times I've seen people say this. I have seen on social media that John Cooper should be fired and that Nikita Kucherov should be traded. And I think that those conversations have to stop. Now, if you want to trade Kucherov and you're getting Connor McDavid, okay, sure, I'll listen to that. But it's going to cost you Nikita Kucherov and more. You're not just going to get him one for one. But sure, I'd hesitate to listen to that as long as the trade involves McDavid. If not, I'm not answering. So there's only one possible team you could possibly open up the phone for, and that's Connor McDavid's team, Edmonton Oilers. But that's not realistic. The other one is fire John Cooper. What are we doing? Remember the last time we said fire John Cooper and then won 2 cups in a row? Now, after the sweep to Columbus in 2019, if you wanted him fired, I wouldn't sit here and say, stop it. Okay, I get it, right? They just won the President's Trophy, just tied a record for the most wins in the regular season at that point in time, and then gets swept in the playoffs. Inexcusable. Deserves to be fired. Now, they made the right decision. They held on to him, and he ends up winning 2 Stanley Cups. But I thought Montreal was extremely lucky in Game 7. Puck luck is real. The Canadiens had it for most of the series, it felt like. But along with the puck luck, Montreal was also the better team most of the series. They wanted it more. There is one player on the Montreal Canadiens with the Stanley Cup. The rest of them, nothing. No rings. Those guys want it. Lightning, been a little bit spoiled. They got some Stanley Cup winners on the roster. They didn't look like they wanted it as much as the Montreal Canadiens. You know, there's a lot of rumors of Connor McDavid coming to Tampa. You end that the moment you fire Cooper. Those rumors, not going to happen. Now, I'm not saying you keep John Cooper around for a chance at landing a great player, but he's still the best coach in the NHL. St. Louis fired Joel Quenneville. Then he built a dynasty in Chicago. Boston fired Bruce Cassidy in 22, and then he went on to win the Stanley Cup with Las Vegas. Craig Berube was fired by the Flyers in 2015, then won the Cup in 19 with the Blues. You don't fire great coaches unless they truly deserve to be fired. Now, a couple people took what I said out of context, blaming the format on the reason the Lightning haven't gotten out of the first round. I think the format is part of it. The format, I think, if it was 1 through 8, then I think the topic is a little bit different today and the conversation's different. Then I think we're talking about why can't the Lightning get out of the second round? The format's not holding them back from winning a Stanley Cup. It's holding them back from the second round. They're not playing the team they should be playing in round 1. That's all I'm saying there. I think if you earn the right to be the 3rd best team in the conference, you should play the 6th best team. I'd rather have played Ottawa than Montreal in round number 1. They weren't matched. They weren't supposed to play Montreal in round 1, but they did. That's the way it is. Gary Bettman's got this stupid system where he wants you to play the same damn teams in the first round every single year, and it is what it is. I don't love it. I haven't talked to a single person that loves it. But that's all I'm saying. It just changes the conversation a little bit. I think if they were playing the 1 through 8 seed, then they're losing in round 2, which is still a problem. The expectations here are always going to be higher. But John Cooper's got the 2nd highest winning percentage for coaches who have coached over a minimum 600 games. There's only one coach ahead of him. He happens to be the greatest coach of all time, Scotty Bowman, who won 9 Stanley Cups. Think about that. With Mike Evans gone, you could argue John Cooper's the face of Tampa Bay sports right now. There's a reason he was the coach of the Canadian team. You think that's a fair assumption? Is John Cooper the face of Tampa Bay sports right now? I mean, you could say, I guess, Junior Caminero maybe, but the longevity there. We're only in year number 2 of Junior.
You're not off on that. The more I think about it, the more that could be the case.
Because I don't think it's anybody on the Bolts. Just because hockey is, unless it's a Canadian team, really never usually the face. But John Cooper, I think, is safe to say he is the face I guess Baker Mayfield could be the guy. Your quarterback's always going to be obviously up there.
He's up there, but I don't know. There's something about, like, don't get me wrong, love Baker, but I don't know. Is he really the face?
I mean, I would say it's between Baker and John Cooper.
True.
Now, the other take that I'm really getting tired of talking about is the Kucherov trade stuff. Yeah, if you're going to get McDavid, then sure. But that's not going to happen. Kucherov is number 2 all-time in points for the Lightning. You already traded the guy who was in third, and you let the top guy walk. Do you really want to do that again? The Tampa Bay Lightning are not the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the Rays did not deserve that trade because the Rays are the only team in this town that actually look like they care. But you know what I mean? I'm talking about the way they operate. You don't get better by trading your leading goal scorer. Suggesting to trade Kucherov is equivalent to suggesting the Bills should just trade Josh Allen. He doesn't get it done in the playoffs. The Bills should move on. Try somebody else. You don't trade your stars. And Kucherov's contract is up after next year. So you're not, and not only that, but he's coming off of a couple bad playoff series in a row. His value is at an all-time low. You know, we have so many text messages. Trade Kucherov for Connor McDavid. In what world is Edmonton going to accept that? Connor McDavid won the Conn Smythe as a loser. You don't just get the best player in the NHL because you're giving them your player who's struggling, even though he's a top 5 guy. It doesn't work that way. It's Kucherov and who? Kucherov and Vazzy? I was having this conversation off the air with Sam Cohen from the Pat Aaron Show. You getting rid of Vazzy and Kuch for McDavid? I don't know if I'd do that. No, I wouldn't. In fact, I wouldn't do that. Unless you told me Kucherov is 100% not re-signing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Are you doing that trade, Tim?
Absolutely not. I'm not giving up an all-world goaltender and Nikita Kucherov for Connor McDavid. I think, if anything, you're going to give up Nikita Kucherov, probably deep several first-round draft picks again.
Yep.
And then probably a couple young guys. Like, this is not going to be a one-for-one like everyone thinks it is.
You just become the Rams. You just trade all your picks. Screw them. F those picks.
This ain't football, though.
No,
hockey's totally different.
Yeah, you can afford to give away your picks in hockey.
Oh, you can afford to give away your picks in football, in my mind.
Really? You're the opposite.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Bruins are a prime example of it, and not to bring up Boston, but, you know, just they've traded so many first-round picks, and, yeah, they made the playoffs this year, but before the season started, everyone was talking about Boston being in the dumps because they have no young talent. And that's where my fear is for the Bolts, is that if they keep giving away first-rounders, second-rounders, you're going to be in the dumps because you got no young talent. And Montreal was the youngest team in the playoffs. That's definitely a reason.
It feels like at some point they'll eventually hit that wall. Somebody on the text line suggested hire Gruden to coach the Lightning. He'll get the job done.
Love it. Let's do it. I'm all in on that.
All right, I would imagine if you look at if you open up your Hard Rock Bet app right now, I would imagine Gruden is not the favorite to be the next Lightning head coach. But knowing the Hard Rock Bet app and how awesome it is, I wouldn't be surprised if the odds were up there. But maybe you can't get rid of Cooper. Like let's stop with those takes. Let's enough. But hockey for us, anyways, it's in the books.